Welcome to the Learning Curve powered by Tutor, the podcast for center owners who care as much about their spreadsheets as they do their students. I'm Adam, and I'm here to get into the weeds of running a successful business. Today, we're joined by Youssef from Passu. Welcome.
Welcome, Adam. It's a pleasure to be you here.
Thank you. Please just introduce yourself. Give a quick overview of you, your background, and your product, please.
So my name is Youssef. I'm a founder of a company called Passu. Passu started out of my story, how I became a migrant here in Canada. So a couple of years ago, I wanted to come to Canada, and everybody told me, "Oh, you just need to pass a language exam. It's a piece of cake." And I said, "Okay, what kind of exam do I need to pass to do that?" And it was IELTS exam. However, what I initially thought was something that I could do it in 2 months. I ended up doing it in 2 years. And it took me 5 exams attempts in just passing the English exam. And even when I got this, the COVID changed everything about how the immigration system points works. And I found myself that I have a certificate that is going to expire after 2 years. And the future is unknown if that is the key to come to Canada or not. So after 1 year, I was waiting. I couldn't get any invitation. I was told that the only key for you now is to learn French, but I didn't know anything about French. So I had to learn French from scratch, and I had to get to level B2 within a span of 9 months. And I was able to do it. And after I passed the French exam, I was able to get my permanent residency in Canada. And when I arrived in Canada here, I found out wasn't just my struggle. Like I spent roughly 3 years, $7,000. I was studying full time for 3 years. I found there are millions of language learners and people who are trying to pass language exam are facing the same challenges. That's why I decided to build Passu. So what is Passu? Okay, from that, a platform that helps students and international students and immigrants to learn languages and as well pass language exams. What I wanted to focus on, like everything that I have tried it, everything that the students have tried it, I knew that it was a waste of time. This is because of lack of official feedback. The traditional way of learning a language is now becoming outdated, and from that I had an inspiration. Okay, what if we could build something completely new to solve the problem from the root? Basically, that's it.
I got to ask, how did you learn French in 9 months?
Okay, that is was very challenging. Like I was eating, I was sleeping, I was doing everything I could possibly do. So this happened during the COVID, and I found out, as I told you, that I had the IELTS certificate, and that was only valid for 2 years. So the time was ticking, and if I did not do it, the entire 2 years effort would be gone because I needed to add French on the top of English. So I had to apply the two certificates. So speaking about motivation is like either I do it or I'm not gonna are all success in anything. And for me, it's kind of like I burned the ships, as you say. Okay, for me, it was like French, 16 hours a day, or I'm not gonna do it. So because I couldn't learn the language in the traditional way, like I used to travel, I used to attend classes in person. There was a lot of games. No, was very strict mission. I have to do it quickly. And the challenge was that booking the exam wasn't like all English exam where you have the ability, once you feel ready, you just book the exam. No, French exams in Egypt, where I come from, like 5 times a year. So I had to choose the exam even if I wasn't ready. Because if I do not book the exam, the next will be after 3 months. I would miss the window. So I had to come up with a lot of strategies. I'm a software developer, so I had to build my own tools. How I'm going to improve my writing, speaking, listening, reading, all the skills and everything that I have learned through IELTS. I just had to reapply it in learning French. It wasn't an easy process, to be honest. But I was able to do it. Like I had 2 times exam attempts only. English, I had 5 times. So French was only two, and the first attempt was after 7 months, and the second attempt was after 9 months, and I was able to get the score.
That's amazing. First of all, congrats.
Thank you.
During those 9 months, what did you learn that kind of translated into the app, if anything?
Okay. Uh, so within a span of, I say, 9 months, I had tried it between 12 to 16 instructors. I have seen many way of being taught how to learn French, natives and non-native. And I found out the most important part was I attend the class, which is 2 hours, 4 hours, okay. And the question is now, what? Okay, you attended the class. What's after the class? Okay, and that was most of the struggle of students. Like whenever I ask this question, I always get abundance of answers. Oh, I write them on a notebook. Oh, I create flashcards. Okay. Oh, I create audios and I have to listen all the time. So I keep asking students like how they learn, and I found out that the way to excel quickly is to combine all of these. So what I used to do is I used to create my own flashcards. Like I used to program them, okay, by myself, and I used to enforce myself. How can I write effectively? How can I listen? I used to create a lot of TTS, which text to speech audios, and keep listening to them. So my style was the first 8 hours of the day. That's where I'm most energetic. So that's when I practice pronunciation and I practice writing. All right, and the other 8 hours of the day, that's when I'm really really exhausted. So I just wanna listen. So I used to do a lot of listening, even when I'm taking a shower. I'm just listening French, listening French. But what exactly do I listen to? I extract whatever was being taught, and I do it in the mini lessons, and I keep listening and repeating, listening and repeating, listening and repeating, to the point that I used to keep it running while I'm sleeping. Like before I sleep, okay, I just sleep on French. So I was consciously and not consciously learning French. Oh, all right. So basically, it is a lot of things. I would say it's not one technique, but it's a combination of multiple techniques.
And how did that translate into the app, or
All
what
right.
you put into that to learn?
So when we started the app, we knew that we have to build something unique, and the idea came that if we emphasize only on AI or emphasize only on self-studying tool, that is not productive. And if we emphasize only on the teaching part, like tutoring part, that's also not productive. So what we have came up with, we call it a hyper model between AI and instructors. I have been interacting with a lot of students who've been learning a language through apps like Duolingo, and they come to us and it's like, "Oh, I've been on Duolingo for 3, 4 months, and I'm not learning anything." And I have been also on the other side where students engage only with instructors and they feel like, okay, I'm taking the class, but what exactly I'm supposed to do after the class, I'm lost. So we found that this is the root pain, how we can solve this. So we came up with a model. It's called the hyper model between instructors and AI. The students attend the class and it's 2 hours, no problem. The material is being taught is the same material that is being taught by AI. So now the students, once they finish the class 2 hours, they find a study plan, step by step, how I'm going to enforce myself to review whatever is being taught. So you imagine yourself as being now in a class for 2 hours. There is a, let's say, a if condition. It's a grammar class, okay, and the teacher asks you a lot of questions. Then now the class is complete. What are you gonna do next? Either you're gonna do the homework, or you're gonna start searching on internet, or you're starting to come up with ChatGPT. I want to practice this. Please come up with questions. That's usually what they do. Okay. So what we have came up with, the same content has been recreated again in a form of gamification and AI. So once you finish the class, the platform will ask you, oh, now you have to go to review through AI. And we have split the lessons into 5 minutes. So first we introduce questions about the class, and we introduce something called how we can I'm gonna paraphrase it. How is it personalized learning? So we ask the students questions about themselves, like describe your home, describe your job, describe your family, and we take this into consideration when we create flashcards for them. So you're gonna be taught about, or you're gonna be trained with the flashcard that is created by the system, which is based on the same material that's being taught in the class, plus personalized questions. When we did this, students are extremely happy about this experience. Because like, oh, now I don't have to go to Duolingo, I don't have to go to ChatGPT, I don't have to look for other apps. Everything in one platform, and that's how we conquered what is the gap, what is missing.
You said the development took a lot longer than you thought, which always happens. That's
Oh
normal.
my god!
Why? What occurred?
All right. So when we started with exam prep first, and we launched this in two exams, IELTS and TCF. TCF for French and IELTS for English. And we initially saw that just providing a content, extremely well organized content, is what the students want, because they, when we did the initial surveys and data, that's what we asked them, what exactly is missing. They said, oh, we need model answers, we need to have evaluation, writing and speaking through the system, AI, and through the instructor. And when we did this, students came up with us, to us, and they said, all right, that is great, but we need more. We need more like personalizing, a personalizational experience. We need AI tutoring. And what is even more, that when we launched the exam preps and it took us a year, students came to us with like, okay, it's good that you guys have a platform for exam prep, but I don't want exam prep, I want to learn language from scratch. I was like, that wasn't the initial intention, because like, why would you need another platform for learning a language when you have a lot of platforms out there? You have italki, you have Bribly, so many competitors. But I found out that's not exactly what you're looking for. Some of them even tried it. They want something different. So we had to go back to the whiteboard and think, okay, now what we could do about it. There is a demand. Students want to learn a language, and on top of it, exam prep. They want the whole package on one platform, and they don't want the traditional platforms out there. They wanted something unique. So what is unique? And uh, after I've been thinking about the future, I found that AI is going to replace a lot of businesses, but most of the business that's going to survive, that is based on human connection. I will share with you one specific example that happened about a month ago. A student did not do their homeworks for almost three classes. So the AI sent them a message, oh, you have to do the homework. So the student was mad. Is like, I didn't want the AI to tell me what to do or not to do. I want the instructor to tell me. And I found out that so many students get demotivated when they learn a language. And if they get notified, oh, you're not doing a good job, you're not doing your homework, they can simply shut down the app or delete the app and continue what they are doing. But they are looking for accountability from instructors. And over the long term, I found that yes, AI will get improved over time, but there's always going to be a need for instructors, which is something I'm going to say that when we started a year and a half ago, that wasn't the advice that we had. The advice we had that in order to start a company right now and raise investment, it has to be AI focused 100%. And if you try to do something with humans, investors wouldn't like that. That is the same advice that I had for almost a year and a half. So I had to question this, like, is that true? That investor want AI? Okay, what about Duolingo? You can see Duolingo is stock performance is really dropping after they introduced AI. So is that a fact? So we had to think, okay, no, we're not going. I don't care about what the investor is going to think about. This is what the students want. So we had to introduce instructors with something we haven't thought about before. So you see, it's a lot of learning curves. Part of it is like economical curves, like, okay, this is what you shouldn't do. You should only focus on AI. And when we introduced AI only, students weren't happy. So we had to find out like how we find a value that is different in order to able to provide a true solution to students. So that has took us 2 years and a half to find out.
I think you're completely right. I think, as we see AI get more widespread, I think it only puts more of a premium on a human experience because it's harder to get. I think you're
Sure.
completely right on that.
Yes, but I would say as an entrepreneur, sorry to interrupt, it wasn't that obvious like a year and a half ago.
The issue then is once you go from a AI only software platform to introducing human tutors is a huge operational challenge, hiring challenge, marketing challenge that uh, can completely change the dynamic, I guess. Can you kind of talk about that?
I'm glad you asked this question because that's why we wanted to do the AI solution only. So when we had the serious conversation with our instructors, and that was about a year and a half ago, and I told them, okay, if we go the path of hiring instructors and we have to train them and we have to keep them disciplined and we have to make sure that the quality doesn't drop over time. So this is on one side if we stick to the human path, and on the other side if we stick the AI, which is a SaaS, we don't have to do anything. We just have to build agent for follow up, agent to creating new curriculum, agent to handle customer service. We just have to build agents. And I was really, really, how to say, motivated to do the second side, like the AI side, because I know how much hassle is it. All right. And after we tried this for a long time, we found, okay, it's very challenging to compete. You need a lot of investment to do that, and also risky. Okay, are the students are willing to accept this or not? And because we haven't seen a successful example in the market where there's like a company that AI powered completely in edtech and dominating everything, we haven't seen even a successful model in order to follow. So what we have decided after a lot of thinking to pivot, to change the business model completely, and we have to stick on the balance. I know that I cannot rely completely on the instructor to follow up, to do assessment or homeworks, to create the study plan. It's a lot of work. So what we wanted to emphasize on the 2 hours of the teacher time, it has to be to the point, like the most painful points in the class, rather than all the other traditional tasks to be done by the instructor. This has to be delegated to AI. We found this approach is successful. Students have been paying for it and they asking for more features and they like what we have done. But I agree with you, it's not easy. It's a lot of work. Hiring an instructor is a challenge. Maintaining up follow up with students is a challenge. But I would accept this rather than to be completely like out of the market, like what I'm supposed to do.
How did you go about finding the teachers? Because that's a whole other pipeline. That's incredibly difficult.
It is challenging. It is truly challenging, and the challenge is the way we teach languages is different than Bribly or Italki, and I want to emphasize how. If you right now willing to learn a new language, let's say German, Japanese, whatever language, if you go to the path of finding a tutor, usually you have to hire them or find them and pay them by class. All right, and it's one-to-one experience. uh, in my experience, this is wasn't motivating. So when I pay an instructor for one-to-one, yes, it's really good, and powerful and effective, because whatever is going to be taught in a group class in 2 hours, I can do it in 1 hour. But there are a lot of other issues. I needed to have a sense of community in the group. So when I was having a lot of burnout experiences during my learning languages experiences, what kept me going was my study peers. Oh, Yusuf, where have you been? Why you haven't missed the class? Okay. Oh, and sometimes after we finish the class, we had the group classes, so we study again together without the instructor. So I found that developing a sense of connection with the group, a friendship, is very, very important in order to sustain your motivation, and that you cannot do if you take just one-to-one classes. So that's a challenge, that when we looking for instructors, we have to find instructors that are able to manage the classes in groups, not in one, because one-on-one is so easy. All right, I'm gonna ask you a question, you ask me a question, and we can do role play. That's easy. But when we have a group, we have 10 students, that is challenging. The challenging part, that not every teacher can have the ability to keep the class fun, because when I mentioned that I had 12 instructors, some of the instructors were so serious. Today we're gonna talk about this, and this is your homework. I was like, why it feels like it's not fun? So we have to find instructors that are able to, number one, understand what is AI and what's going on with AI. Because I found a lot of great instructors, but they still far away from the AI area. Like, okay, we do things traditionally. I open Google Drive and I write the class and I have to find picture from Canva. I was like, no, this is so outdated. now, now we use Claude. Okay, we came up with our game. Just tell us what game you wanted to have in your class, and we will program the game for you. So I would say the challenge is, if I'm gonna summarize it, finding instructors who are capable of running or managing a class in a group, and it has to be gamified. Finding instructors who are willing to accept the change, because we found some instructors that are like, oh, what I'm supposed to do then? You are replacing me with all this study plan and AI tools. I'm like, no, that's not true. So they have to I mean, like they have to
Embrace.
embrace the changes and not be scared of it, because we found some instructors are like, this is completely abnormal, I have never done this before in any, any class. The way you are guys teaching a language is completely bizarre for us.
A lot of teachers are not the most tech savvy people.
Yes, yes, that's correct.
And I understand that difficulty. And even doing group classes, but it's online, is a whole other skill as well on top of that.
Yes. I did not knew this initially, all right, because I built the platform from a student point of view, okay, but when I started to interact, I was, wow, I was shocked. Like, some many of them, like, just creating a Zoom link, that is too much work for me. Okay. So imagine that I'm asking them to create flashcards, to create a gamification system, so I'm asking them for too much. But that's what is gonna differentiate us from the rest, and that's the vision of the startup.
Talk about the scheduling a bit too. Just the back end on that. Did you like get off the shelf software? Did you develop your own? Because that's a whole other challenge too.
So I've been a software engineer for 10 years. I have created multiple startups, but none of them were in the edtech field. So I started Passu out of my personal development. Like when I was learning IELTS, I was learning French. I created some tools and I shared them with students. But when I started this company here in Canada, I started to take many different routes. So I had to become first. I was developing night and day for almost a year and a half, and I had a big software team. Then I found out later, okay, I need to be in charge of the teachers. I need to teach them how we're gonna teach on the platform, because I found out I have to be the bridge between technology and education. They are very well expert in education, but the bridge is missing. So I had to guide them. Like I had many times I had to teach the class and tell them how we're gonna teach the class, which is with a learning curve. And found myself like I'm train the trainer rule. And there is the rest was marketing. When I was talking with investors, said, why you've been only working with instructors and software? You have to be out there, you have to speak, you have to be in podcasts, you have to be in a lot of exhibitions. I was like, okay, that is too much. But I had to do that as well. And now I found that students, because they could relate to my personal story, what I started, why I started it, that's why they trust my vision. uh, so it was quite challenging, to be honest.
It's a lot of hats to wear. And from you starting out as a student and then teaching teachers is a huge leap.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Like I attend every single class, and I write all the notes that I have to share with the instructors. How we could improve the class management, homework, AI. What could we do? Every class. So I'm not just a builder or entrepreneur. I'm a student as well. And also I'm taking classes in a different places. I've been taking French classes in College Boreal since I started here, just to keep edging my French. And I'm always want to be exposed to different techniques, not just what we've been teaching in Passu.
During this development process, what was the biggest bottleneck you faced?
Oh, there's so many. like like in terms of financing the company, because it has been bootstrap plus a little angel investors. I would say being a newcomer in Canada, like an immigrant, and starting a company, it is hell. It is the definition of hell. Why? As a newcomer, your first priority is how to survive, how I'm gonna pay rent, how I'm gonna find a job, wherever. But starting a company is a full time job. Fundraising is a full time job. Marketing is a full time job. So I didn't. I had to do a lot of casual jobs just to be able to focus on the business, because I had a big team, roughly 12 team members, from graphic designers, software engineers, teachers, and at the same time, none of them knew like how I'm living in Canada, how I'm able to survive in Canada. So I had to do multiple casual jobs, and for a year and a half, I never took a day off. When not even Christmas. So and eventually I had a severe burnout. But I would say that is challenging. Right now with Claude and everything is different. Like what I had to do in a year and a half is possible now to do it in 6 months, for instance. But my 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 biggest challenge was funding as a new immigrant, or as a newcomer. It was challenging. I was told many times by investors, who are you? Why would you give you money? Like we could give you money and you just run away, go back your home. And they have a valid point. Okay. And the second challenge, I would say, we had a lot of tractions. So when we started French exams, we had almost 15,000 students without any marketing. That is impressive. Every single investor said, like, how did you do it? And the strategy was, we're gonna rely on mobile SEO rather than web. So there wasn't so many mobile apps back then. So when you search for the exam, you just find Passu, comes the first 5 apps. But the challenge that I didn't know, that despite we had a great app, great UI UX, great model answer, great system, student couldn't pay. Why they couldn't pay? Because most of them were from Africa, and they even couldn't even move forward with PayPal or Visa card or Mastercard. So we found that we have a great product, but we cannot deal with the payment getaways in Africa. They ask for mobile wallets like Vodafone and Orange. I was like, this is not sustainable. So imagine, like, after even a product, after building a product for a year and a half, and you end up with this.
How did you overcome that?
We had to partner with a third parties, and we had to shift our business model. So initially we were emphasizing only on exam prep. Now it's exam prep and language learning. And we had to do a lot of things that I wasn't happy about doing that, because I come from Egypt and it's an African country. But I was surprised that Algeria, for instance, was 35% of our users, and we couldn't process payment there unless we have a subsidy there with 51%, and we have to find a local. So it's really, really difficult. So what we have to do is, like, we had to pivot and we had to focus on the developed countries. And for developing countries is now an optionary. Like, we are not relying on them completely on the revenue model. It's not something that I like, but it just, it's so difficult to have a startup running from any developed country and trying to process payment, specifically in Africa. And some countries wouldn't let you get the money out. Like, even if you take the money, is okay, but it's not easy to get it out of through wire transfer to Canada, for instance.
So, what is the revenue model now?
So the revenue model now, we have exam prep. We offer packages, which is two packages. Either you do self-learning with us, or with an instructor review for writing and speaking. So that is focused on the exam prep. The second revenue coming from the language learning, which are offering 10 months program, plus an optionally if you want to take the exam prep with us. And this is what I've been mentioning the entire podcast, the hyper model for instructors and AI. So students start learning with us at least 5 hours a week through tutoring, and the rest was through the platform, how they enforce the reviewing. So we basically, I would say the learning languages now is more profitable than the exam prep, especially after a lot of changes in the uh, immigration and transition related to exam prep. So exam prep is not that stable. As you have seen, the IDB stock performance dropped significantly, IELTS, because of the changes in New Zealand, Canada, and Australia. So I would say we have to offer them, both of them, but would be the most stable would be learning a language, because students or people wouldn't stop learning a language even with AI. There's always going to be demand for learning languages, and learning language can be expanded to B2B, which is something we're looking forward now to explore with the government, newcomer centers, which is something shocking that I would have to say also. I didn't know that when we started the business, that we couldn't find any grant or any support from the government if we're gonna do only exam prep, but we have a plethora of opportunities if we do language teaching.
So you shifted the demographic to language learners in more financially developed countries.
But not, I would say, yeah, there is a catch. Like right now, a lot of students from who have been learning French with us from Middle East. So it's not just the developed countries. We are accepting any country that they have no issue with payment. So Egypt not a problem, Dubai, and I would say like Lebanon is not a problem, Syria is not a problem. We have so many students from these countries. The challenge was if they cannot process the payment.
Mm, okay.
Mm.
Um, Talk to me a bit about the marketing too. You said you were doing it on your own. You said you were focused on mobile SEO. Talk about mobile SEO a bit because I don't think a ton of people are familiar with that.
Okay, that is an interesting question as well. So I'm gonna speak as a mobile software developer, because I was a mobile software developer for many years, and I have been in that market for a long time to understand what are the differences between running a business that's completely based on mobile apps and web apps, or hybrid between both of them. So when we started Basso, the traditional advice would be start a web, and because it's easy to build. Why would you hire three individuals, one for web, one for mobile, Android, and one for iOS, when you can just hire a web and save that money on marketing? But I found out in order to rank a website to get to top 100, it takes ages, and you have to spend a lot of money on marketing. On the other side, when I started to search on exam prep, I found that if I look on the word, let's say IELTS, you will find, let's say, 50,000 websites. But on the Android and iOS, you might end up with 50, 40. So it's a very, very different scale. So what we have decided is we're going to start first with mobile. Actually, we started with mobile first, not the web, to take the leverage that there is not a lot of competition. And that worked on our favor. When we introduced the mobile apps, we were getting 1,000 downloads a month organically. However, when 2 months later, when we launched our website, we couldn't even get a 50 or even 100. Why? Basically, it's a mess. You have 50,000 web app or websites, and you have about 50 mobile apps. So it's very easy to get ranked. Specifically, when we introduced our platform, we worked on UI and UX. So from just the first impression, you see this is a very well developed app. So the amount of investment that we invested in mobile development worked for us, because I could see it. Why would I invest in marketing but I would invest in mobile apps, and it would also generate revenue? So it's two birds with one stone.
When you're talking about being ranked, you mean in the app stores,
Yes.
right?
When you search the word IELTS or any exam prep, look at the first 50, 10, and you will simply find out like if there is a real need or if there is a competition. And usually students don't just download the first app, they download 3 4 5 apps, then they make a decision which is one is the best.
With the mobile apps and the SEO, did you pay for any advertising?
Believe it or not, none.
That's amazing.
None. Not even organically, we don't even have like a thousand follower. Like even our social media existence, none. And we just relied on the keywords and optimize that to the best.
So have you done any paid advertising?
we had done a lot of advertising, but not the initial phase. When we started language exam, we had none. But when we started language teaching, we started to do some advertising, but it's still like minimum. Like we haven't done like a proper marketing campaign yet. We have a new team member who just joined this month, and his job is sales and marketing, who is gonna take the lead in this. So right now we are working on creating something big in terms of sales and marketing, because we figured out, okay, this is a market. It's not a completely easy to enter. Okay, so we have to prepare for it, and we have to expose ourselves, because a lot of students come to us who have been taking classes with us. It's like, you guys have something amazing, but nobody knows about it. And I agree with that. We just right now in the testing phase. Once we polish everything, because it takes time. I have to be honest with you. Building a curriculum from A1 all the way to B2 is not easy. Even with AI, even with whatever amount of AI tools out there, you still need human revision by our instructors. So we're building it step by step. When we were almost getting there, before we go public and start to make massive partnership and marketing campaigns.
You talked a bit about your competitors. It is a very competitive market. Uh, how do you stand out? I mean, besides the mobile SEO, how do you make yourself visible in that space?
I understand it's quite challenging market, and that's why when we had to go back to the whiteboard and think how we're gonna differentiate ourselves, we haven't found this model that I mentioned, the AI hyper model instructors, is common. And we haven't found that a lot of competitors follow up with the cohort system. Like as I mentioned, you have to find instructors and book individual classes, 2 classes, 5 classes, but there wasn't a system that, okay, we're gonna take the entire program. It's 100 classes, it's 150 classes with a group. So what we started the 10 months cohort, and it's been successful so far. And when I ask students why it's different, what makes it unique, because a lot of students came from other competitors, as you mentioned, and they like the aspect that there is an instructor in the group class, and this is my colleagues are going to be with me to level up. So that is different. They like the aspect of the platform that they can review what they have taken in the class immediately, and also they like the idea that it's not I would say vague. Like there is a plan. Like I know when I'm gonna graduate, and if there is an exam focus, I know that I'm taken care by the platform, so I don't have to worry about anything. I think these are three fundamental values that we haven't seen in a competitor. And for now, even with I'm gonna share that without any marketing at all, like a minimum marketing, we have about 25 students, and we just started in January, and the platform is not even complete 100. So I'm very very optimistic about that.
It's very good. It's a very strong start. You're kind of at the apex right now of a lot of shifting plates, right? Like in regards to AI, education, and immigration, right? Which is kind of where it all started. That within the last year, everything's really changed.
Yes.
Uh, you've been able to pivot pretty well, but what kind of trends do you see? How far out in the future can you see what's going
Oh,
to happen?
okay. Wow. You know, I'm always asking this question, like, can we imagine 5 years from now? And the traditional, investors question, where do you see your company after 5 years? If you even say anything after 1 year, you're lying. Okay, it is difficult to predict anything. Okay, so if we divide your question into categories, so we have the education part, and we have the AI part, and we have the immigration part. So for immigration, the way I see it, there's gonna still be a need for new immigrants, international students. However, as you have seen the trends right now, since COVID, they have reduced this number, and now they're becoming very very selective about who is coming to the country. So I wouldn't be surprised that if they increase the level of the minimum proficiency level that is needed for immigration, for instance. For instance, I had to get CLB 10, which is like almost C1. But I know now a lot of students can come to Canada with B2. I think they might increase the level. Why? Because for them, we want to make sure that every immigrant that is being invited to come to Canada or other countries as well is going to bring a value right away. And for them, language proficiency is one of the biggest indicators. So for now, maybe you know about this, but Canada is demanding to have a lot of francophone French immigrants until 2029, and now we're getting reformed the system. And what is predicted that they're not just going to ask for French immigrants, but French immigrants who have skills and also could be bilingual. So what I see in terms of immigration, they're going to reduce the number and they're going to make it more difficult for acceptance to come to these countries, which means that you have to work more in your language. And I could see that very clearly. The second part, when it comes to education and learning a language, the more and more AI is going to be expanding, and people will unfortunately lose their jobs and they have to think about what I'm going to do. So the more people get laid off, they will ask themselves what I'm supposed to do now. And they will have to go back to the education. I have to level up what I used to do, or I have to learn a new skill. And usually, what happens with this, there's a question mark if I should improve my language or should I learn another language. So the way I see it, there's going to be a demand for languages as well in the future. When it comes to education, AI specifically, what is going to happen with education? Like right now, Passu is using AI. What's going to happen in the next few years? The way I see it, in the past, teachers used to have whiteboards and they used to have pencils and they have to use these tools in order to able to provide a good experience to students. What happened now is the whiteboard has been replaced with prompt engineering and flashcards and algorithms. I think this is gonna continue, and it's gonna be less reliant on easy and medium task by instructors. And I have seen this multiple times. Like look at Fiverr, for instance. All the freelancing tasks, easy and medium, vanished. So in order to ask for an instructor for a guidance or to ask for tutoring, I think they will have to level up. And I think for level A1, A2, probably B1, over time will be piece of cake. I think people will need a much articulated guidance to level up their language towards C levels and towards, let's say, business English business, towards, let's say, customer service business. So like a niche language, because AI will make it easy to pick up a language at the beginning. Obviously, that this is not for everyone. There's always going to be a need for human connections. I have seen it. Some people are really great at self-learning. Some are not. Some they still need a motivation. I need an instructor. I need someone to guide me. I need someone to call me. Where have you been, Yusuf? Why you haven't done the homework? And no matter how much AI is going to improve, they're still going to need the human connections. So that's how I see it. Like if in a span of a year and 2 or 3, I think that's where we're heading.
Do you see AI translation tools uh, changing the need for language acquisition at all?
Yes, definitely. Live translation uh, is going to reduce the motivation or reduce the need to why would I learn a new language. Um, but however, I would say one of the industries is going to be always booming even after AI is going to be tourism. If we are talking about to be in a world where everybody is well paid by the government, I don't know. Okay, if there's gonna be a universal income in that case, because I think it's not logical. Okay, maybe in developed countries, but what about the developing countries? Okay, we have millions and millions of people. So tourism is going to be a big deal, and a lot of people I know that learn languages because of tourism. Okay, they want to visit another country, So I would say yes, definitely there will going to be a reduction of, or the number of language learner will be reduced significantly over, let's say, 5 6 years. But there's always going to be demand. Why the demand? Because there's still going to be businesses that you need to speak fluently. Still, people want to immigrate. Immigration will not stop completely, okay, but they will reduce the numbers. So for other purposes as well, which I don't know completely yet, to be honest with you, but I don't think it's going to be eradicated completely. But I agree with you, it's going to be reduced.
This conversation's been so great. Thank you so much. This has been so interesting. I really, really have enjoyed it. Yusuf, where can people find you in the app?
All right, so our website, Passu.ca. This is our website, and we are exist on social media, TikTok, Facebook, and if they wanna follow me personally, I'm exist on LinkedIn as well.
Perfect. Anything else you want to share while we're here?
Well, I'm really happy about the questions. I have to say these are quite interesting questions that I haven't been asked in other podcasts, and it's really really difficult to answer it because right now my answers I've been giving to you right now. If you ask me the same question after 6 months, might be completely different. Okay, and it's very challenging to how to navigate a company, or how even for your personal future, what I'm supposed to do. So it's really really challenging, and all I can say that for students out there, I have never met a student who have regretted learning a new language. Never. Okay, it always asks to them something. There is a quote that I like. It says that when you learn a new language, you add a new personality to yourself. If you learn French, for instance, you know how the French thinks. If you learn Arabic, for instance, say with Egyptian accent, let's say, you know how the Egyptian think. Chinese. So I think we are heading towards more opportunities towards. It's not just about the benefits of learning something, but it's about the pleasure of learning something. And if I'm gonna say anything, I think this is gonna be more oriented towards the meaning of life. The meaning of life is not gonna be in the future, regardless, like if I'm just gonna complete something or achieve something, rather than experiencing something. And that's gonna be a fundamentally change how we perceive life itself. Because in the future, everything will be done by AI. But the question is like, I want to live, I want to experience it, I want to learn, I want to have the passion and the joy of learning it, or drawing, learning, whatever it. So I'm excited to see the future despite its own negatives.
I think that's a great place to end it. I think if education can go back to more of the joy of learning and less on the ROI, I think it would be beneficial in the long run.
Definitely, without any doubt.
Cool. Thank you so much. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you, Adam. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.